Welcome to Elevate Your Mind, your number one podcast for peak performance strategies that will enhance your mindset, develop your emotional skill set, and maybe, just maybe, be the catalyst to create positive forward momentum in your life. Here's what's to come from today's pod.
I'm not judging when I say this, trust me, I've been down these paths. Anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, depressive thoughts, OCDs, they're all the same, they're all wrapped in the same clothing. That we're trying so desperately to find a deeper way to connect with ourselves, and we're not finding a way to do that, so we do it via traits. Boom, and we are live. Guys, welcome back to the podcast. For those of you who are new here, welcome. This is Elevate Your Mind, where I bring you some really incredible strategies, breakthrough methods, principles that can maybe be a catalyst for you to break through some current challenges or limiting emotions, feelings, beliefs that you've currently got in your life so you can enhance it. That's what we do here. So let's crack on, shall we? In this particular session, and I do say it's a session, it's like a training session because I always like to give you action steps as well. This is all around that term that everyone talks about so much. Self-love. Well, let me start by saying this to you. This notion of self-love is a scam. Sorry to be the one to break it to you. It's an absolute scam. Because this notion of self-love is like an oxymoron in itself. They contradict each other. Self and love, they're two polar opposites. It's like saying north and south. It's like you can't be focused on the self if you're going to feel love. It's that simple. That is why it is a scam. Because it leads people down a path that is unattainable. Any form of love comes from a place of when you give, not from when you get. And so in this particular episode, I'm going to highlight how to enhance self-love. But the reason it's in quotation marks in the title is for that very reason. It's because it's a scam. And so let's deep dive into this, because let me ask you the real question straight away. How do you connect with yourself in a deep and meaningful and purposeful way? How do you connect with yourself in a deep, meaningful and purposeful way? And give yourself a moment as I'm talking here to maybe think about that, whether you're driving along or on the dog walk or on your commute. How do you connect with yourself in a truly deep and meaningful way? And so we're all on the same page here. I'm not talking about, once a week I give myself a nice bubble bath and I light some candles and I have a glass of red wine. That is not some form of love and connection within yourself. Let's just be clear. It's a nice thing to do. It's a form of care for yourself. It is not building deep, meaningful connection within yourself. So how do you do that? Because when I ask most of my clients, they struggle to answer this. Why? Because they're always so busy. They're busy being a wonderful parent. They're busy being a wonderful worker. They're busy being a wonderful friend. They're busy being a wonderful colleague. They're busy being a wonderful, you name it. And they are left at the back. And once all of those other areas are sorted, then they might give themselves some connection and some time for them. Cool. I understand that. We all live busy lives. I'm no different to that. But regardless of all of those things happening, that still doesn't deter from the focus of how do you connect with yourself. Because connecting with yourself in a deep and meaningful way is really the avenue of how people are going to create what they want, which is this quote unquote self-love. Because self-love, what people are, and from my experience in this area, what people are looking for from self-love is that notion of deep care, feeling seen, heard and understood, and some time for them to just feel whole, for them to feel fulfilled, for them to feel at ease, for them to feel like they've got a moment for them and they can feel loving and warm and connected. Well, here's the thing. If you are not creating that, you will use limiting emotions as a way of artificially and superficially creating it for you. Because guess what happens here? If you are not connecting with yourself, you will attach to traits, you will attach to limiting emotions, you will attach to feeble feelings and beliefs as an avenue for you to cultivate a superficial level of love in your life. Let me dive deep here for you, because this, for so many of you listening, is going to be absolutely profound. So here's the thing. I'm at a stage, Matt, where I'm so busy all the time. I'm a busy parent, I'm a busy worker, I'm a busy friend, I'm a busy son or daughter, I'm a busy colleague, and I don't have much time for me. I'll be honest with you, Matt, I don't have much time to connect with myself. My mind's always racing, it's always 100 miles an hour, I'm always caught up in things. Okay, I understand that. So you're not taking time to connect with yourself? No, I'm not. Okay. So when do you have time for yourself? I don't. Literally, I don't at all. Okay. So you tell me you're struggling with anxiety right now? Yes, really bad, honestly. And what happens when you feel anxious? Honestly, I can't think of anything else in that moment. When I'm anxious and I'm struggling with anxiety, I just can't focus on anything out there, and I'm just focused, on how I'm feeling. And okay, and what happens in that moment? Well, I end up just having to breathe deep, and I try and reassure myself that I'm going to be okay, and I try and comfort myself. Interesting. And for those of you with me on YouTube right now, you can maybe see a smirk on my face. Because for someone who has absolutely zero time for connection for themselves, it's awfully funny how you spend a lot of time focusing on you and giving yourself the comfort that you need when you're anxious. It's almost as if it serves a purpose for you. It's almost as if when you're anxious, it's the only time where you can block everything else out and you're solely focused on you. It's almost as if when you're anxious and struggling with anxiety, you can drop all those other roles of parent, worker, friend, son or daughter, whatever it is that you're playing, partner in your life, and focus solely on you. Give yourself some time to connect with yourself. And because you're not doing it in a powerful, meaningful, empowering way, you're using this trait and you're attaching yourself to this trait as a form of creating superficial love for yourself, because you don't create it any other way. Some of you are listening to this now, and some seeds are being planted in your mind. Some introspective thoughts are now going on where you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your busy life. You're thinking about your busy situation, how you're always there for everyone else. But who's there for you? Who's there to hear, see, feel, understand how you're feeling? Well, the truth is this. If that answer is no one, and you are not even there for yourself in that way, and I'm not saying you don't have a loving partner, a loving family, a loving mum or dad, a loving brother or sister, or workers who care for you, or friends who are there for you. I'm not saying that. But if you haven't mastered the art of connecting with yourself in a deep and meaningful way, well then guess what? You will attach. And you will attach to a trait, or you will attach to another person as a way of trying to build that connection, because ultimately what you're craving underneath is this self-love. But this is the reason of why you do it, because you are superficially and artificially creating it via this trait of anxiety, when really we need to learn how to create that deep and meaningful connection. And you create that deep and meaningful connection from yourself, not through self, but through love. And so in this, I'm going to show you how to enhance that self-love within you, so you don't have to use this trait, because truthfully, maybe this reason, maybe alongside a few others, but it is one of the core reasons that I see amongst the clients who I've worked with across thousands and thousands of people all around the world. One of the core reasons why they use anxiety, and I use the word use there, is because it is the one time that they can use it to focus on themselves and create a moment where they can connect with themselves. But the problem is it's via this trait. Why? Because all they want is some self-love and some self-care and some self-understanding, and because they live such a busy life, it's the only time they can do it. Well, I say to that, get gone, because that isn't what you deserve. That isn't what you should have in your life, not because I'm judge and juror, but because that's why we're here together, and that's why ultimately we want to be free from it. Because that trait, although it serves us in a deeper way, mentally it makes us feel like you know what. And so to do that, we have to learn this art of connection. We have to learn this art of how we connect with ourselves. So the deeper question here is not how to enhance self-love, but the deeper question here is, how do I build a deeper level of connection with myself so I can be at peace and love and things like that and give from this place? Because that's when you feel it. That's when you feel that true self-love. And the truth is this: think of the times now when your quote-unquote self-love has been the highest. Think of a time now, and some of you behind the screen or in your earphones now going, I've never felt self-love, I've never loved myself in that way. Well, do you know why? A big reason why is because you've been so focused on self. So focused on self. Let me give you a personal example here. When I was facing, I still face some challenges in my life, but when I was in a pretty dark place 10, maybe 11 years ago, I was in a really dark place and I was really struggling in a lot of ways. One of the biggest things, one of my biggest phrases that I would use is, within myself, I didn't really say so, don't let people step into your boundaries. That used to be the way I explained it to myself. You've got a boundary around you, Matt. Don't let people overstep or take too much up or interfere with your boundaries. And I was like, okay. Now I'm like, okay. But at the time I was like, okay, because if I do that and I don't let people, I can, navigate which love that I give to people who deserve it, and navigate, what love I receive in, and people who try to take advantage, and all this sort of messed up way that I was in my head at the time. Because the truth is this, in that place, it's like you clenching your fist right now because you're holding a £1 coin or a $1 bill for my stateside friends, and you are clenching it like that, and you're going, no, this is my $1 bill, this is my £1 coin, this belongs to me, this belongs to me. And I'm going, open your hand. You're going, no, this belongs to me, this is my £1 coin, this is my $1 bill. Okay, no worries. And then you, a bit like, well, out of interest, why did you want me to do that? Because I wanted to give you an extra £100 or an extra $100. That's why. You see, you cannot receive anything. You cannot receive any feelings of uplift or joy or love or fulfillment within you when you're focused on self, because you're in a lack mindset. You're in a limitation-based thinking. And when you do that, you retreat from everything. We both know that when you don't feel good within yourself, when you don't feel fulfilled, your partner or your parent can say, oh, you look lovely, you look nice, you look handsome, you look beautiful. No, I don't. You're just saying that. Why? Because we're not in connection with ourselves. While focus is purely on me. From that place, you're never going to feel the depths of self-love and the depths of connection with yourself that you want to feel. So like I said to you a couple of moments ago, the question is not how to enhance the self-love. The deeper question really is, how can I connect with myself in more of a deeper, meaningful way? And the truth of that lies in this one statement, which I recommend that you write down or you tattoo it on a forehead, whether it's yours or someone else's, that's your prerogative. But the way that you connect with yourself in a deeper, meaningful way is to give way beyond your means of current contribution to a point where you fill yourself up via that contribution. I know that's a long sentence there. The way that you enhance self-love, but a deeper way, the way that you connect with yourself in a deeper, meaningful way, is to give way beyond your current levels of contribution. Because when you do that, you automatically top yourself up. Let me give you an example here. Think about the first time that you may have entered a relationship, whether it be intimate, social, whatever it may be. The first time you entered that relationship, all you could think about, all you could do, all you could give was, what can I do for that person? How can I make that person feel like they're incredibly special to me? How can I make that person know how much they mean to me? Unless, you was one of these early on who likes to play games and I don't want to give too much and all of that. But when you actually got into that relationship and you started it was focused on giving. And as a result, what did you feel? You felt connected, you felt loved, you felt warm, you felt fulfilled from that place. Why? Because your focus was on how you could give way beyond the level of, let's say if it was an intimate relationship, way beyond the level of when you were single. Because when you were single, you were just focused on me, 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 me. When you entered that relationship now, you're now focused on how I can make that person feel, how I can uplift them. And as a byproduct of that, it naturally tops me up. The reason that so many people find themselves in a double-edged sword with this is because, like I say, they show up as a parent or as a partner or as a worker or as a colleague or as a friend. But where they give from, truthfully, is a place of duty, not a place of pure love. Because a place of duty is where, they're my kids, I need to do it, or they're my parent, I need to do it, or they're my friend, so I need to see if they're okay. And what that does is it debilitates us, truthfully. Because we go, I'm showing up everywhere over here for these people. I'm showing up for, what about me? Who's there to look out for me? And then we develop this trait as a way of actually giving ourselves some time to focus on us, as I said earlier. Whereas at the start of that relationship, before you was a year, 2, 5, 10 years in and the tide started to change, you were focused on how you could give. Another example of that is like maybe if you have kids, when you see your kids having the most beautiful, fulfilled, loving, passionate exchanges with each other or on their own, you see the joy on their face and you know that you've contributed to that and you went beyond the means of your contribution to see how fulfilled it makes them. It makes you feel happier. Another way is at Christmas. What feels better, when you receive a wonderful present or when you give a wonderful present to someone, you see how much it means to them? Exactly. Because when you give out that present to them and you see the look on their face and you see how much it lights them up, it creates that warm feeling within you as well, because you cultivated a deeper level of connection with yourself via the act of contributing out there. This is so fundamental because, like I said at the start of this episode, how to enhance self-love, which is the oxymoron in itself, is to let go of the self. The more that you're focused on self, the less love that you can feel. Just so my accent isn't caught up there, feel meaning F-E-E-L. And so it's so important because of course you need to give yourself some care, of course some time, some attention, some energy to do the things that you want to do, and that maybe is, let's all be clear, we all like our own bit of alone time from every now and again. So of course that's important. But if you really want to touch base with deeper levels of self-love, as people call it, but what I call a deeper, meaningful connection with yourself, that's going to come from the act and the art of giving way beyond your levels of contribution that you currently do. Some of you might have done this if you've given to a charitable donation or given your time, your effort, your energy, your emotion to someone in a really pure way, and you come away and there's that sense of, you know what, you really made a difference there, good on you. And it enhances the pride, the feeling of appreciation and fulfillment within you. Like I said, where people get stuck with this is, unfortunately, a lot of people, they give out of duty, not out of love. People say to me all the time, you know what, Matt, I'm not saying this for any other untoward way than what people genuinely have said to me previously, which is, Matt, you do so much. You do podcasts, you do YouTube, you do free trainings, you're creating 10-minute Tuesdays, you're always working with clients. I always see you on different forms of social media. If you're not there, you're out talking. If you're not there, you're always doing things all the time. When do you have time for you? I'm like, this is time for me. This is my time. This is my time to give way beyond my means of contribution of what I can normally do and try and expand that and grow that and give and uplift and share and help elevate other people. Because when I do that, I know in turn I'm naturally going to give to myself. I know as a byproduct of me living from that place, I'm naturally going to top up my pint glass. I'm going to be fulfilled, fully filled, full of that self-love because of my acts, because of what I've done, because of my time, my effort, my energy, my emotion. When I don't feel self-loved, I'm going to use that term because that's the term that people are aware of. When I don't feel self-loved is when I just retreat, keep myself away. I like some time to myself, don't get me wrong. There's only so much of that before I'm like, right, how can I get back out there then and make meaningful change? How can I connect with the truth of me? And through the truth of me, that is through the act of giving and sharing and contributing and uplifting. Because when you do that, you in turn give it to yourself. This is how you really, truly create self-love. Not this, superficial bubble bath or candles or glass of red wine, or I'm going to buy myself that item of clothing. They're lovely things to do. I do them all, some of them. But they're not true self-love. They're not true meaningful ways of connecting. You can't feel something truly that you are holding in. You can't feel it truly when you're holding in. In a relationship, you can't truly feel loved unless you give that love. But the problem, like I say, is most people are so focused on self all the time, so focused on me, 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 me. And anxiety is a beautiful example of that. Most people, they haven't got a connection with themselves. They might not even have a connection with their partner, a deep, meaningful connection with their partner or with their friends or with their parents because of certain situations. And the people are starving for this deep and meaningful connection, that they end up using this trait of anxiety because it's the only way that they can focus on me. And then they get themselves down, or they might, I'm going to just focus on me for a little while and spend some time. This is what I need from it. And it's such a superficial way. I'm not judging when I say this. Trust me, I've been down these paths. Anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, depressive thoughts, OCDs, they're all the same. They're all wrapped in the same clothing. That we're trying so desperately to find a deeper way to connect with ourselves, and we're not finding a way to do that. It's not the only reason it shows up in your life, but it's one of the reasons for sure. Because when you feel connected with yourself, and you connect with yourself via the act of how you can contribute way beyond the means of what you currently are, and you do that in a meaningful way with your work colleagues, with your friends, with your situations of what you cultivate, and you're part of that, of course, this trait of anxiety doesn't, When you're focused so much on creating beautiful moments, beautiful experiences, beautiful situations in your life, you're not focused on this trait and getting wrapped up in it. Why? Because you're too busy enhancing your self-love, creating a deeper, meaningful connection with yourself through truthfully giving. No, I mean like the real truths, not these superficial, surface level things. Even conversations these days. How are you? Yeah, great. How's work? How's this? I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Why? Because I'm like, if we're going to chat, let's chat. Let's chat. Let's chat about what's really going on. Because I want to build a connection with you. I want to build a connection with myself. Oh yeah, it's been good. Oh, I know the weather's been terrible, hasn't it? I know, yeah, I know. Oh yeah, did you see that on the news? Oh God, it's draining. It's draining. And you're probably listening to this knowing exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but when we talk about enhancing deep, meaningful connection, it comes from, first of all, understanding within ourselves. That's never going to be from a place of focusing on me. But it's a case of focusing on creating deep, meaningful connection, on how can I create these moments, these experiences, these situations where I can contribute to others as well, and I'll feel that as a byproduct. And when I do that, that feeling of self-love enhances within me. When I'm at work and I contribute to that work project, and it comes from a place of love, and I've really contributed in that way, and I see the success of it, and I feel proud of myself for what I did. Or I see my kids playing and I see how wonderful they are and how beautiful they are and how loving they are in that moment with each other or in the situation, and I see how happy they are and I feel that as a byproduct. Or when I see my partner smiling and just so happy within himself and I know I've contributed towards that, how wonderful that feels. Or when my family or my parents or whatever it may be, I turn up for them and I show up for them in a time of need, or not even a time of need, I surprise them just with my presence because I don't see them so much anymore, whatever it may be, and I see how happy they are, that makes me feel in turn happy. Self-love will never come from self-thinking. Self-love will never come from self-thinking. Self-love, a deep and meaningful connection with yourself, will always come from when you give way beyond the means of contribution to a point where you just fill yourself up as a byproduct of that. When you can start to focus on that, you'll enter a limitless pool of love. I haven't cracked everything in life, believe you me, I'm far from it. I've got lots and lots to learn, I'll be the first to tell you that. But one thing I do like to acknowledge within myself that I have learned is that I give time to myself, I take care of myself, I give myself some moments of relaxation. But one of the biggest moments and prides within myself is the fact that I'm so driven to uplift others and help others and elevate their mind and elevate their emotions and elevate their life in that way that as a byproduct of that I recognise that that tops my pint glass up as well. And through my focus on giving, through my focus on contributing, through my focus on always looking to do more and more in that area, as a byproduct I live a pretty full life at this stage through the acts of what I've contributed way beyond my current means at whatever stage that is. And then I feel incredibly self-loved. Then when I close my eyes at night, there's a peace to me. There's an understanding. There's a tranquility, which we all crave. And like I say, I haven't cracked that. I've got a long way to go still. But in understanding that, people can start to connect with the real parts of them that they really want, which is that self-love, which is that real meaningful depth. It will always come from when I focus on what I can give, truly. Not through duty, not through just some act because it's the right thing to do, but through pure love, because I want to contribute, because I want to give. When you do that, you'll unlock the key to enhancing self-love. And better still, a pool that will be never ending. So my encouragement for you today, my action step for you today is very, very simple. How can you enhance your self-love through giving way beyond your current means of contribution in a particular area of your life to a point where you fill yourself up? Where I know you do lots, I know you do wonderful things for people, I know you show up in all of those areas that I said before, as a parent, as a partner, as a friend, as a colleague, as a son or daughter. But how can you do that from a place of love where you actually fully give your time, your effort, your energy, your presence in those moments? Because that's what pure love is, like you did at the start of the relationship, like when you sit there and watch your kids, like when you give that Christmas gift. Because when you do that and you can give them your time, your effort, your energy, your presence, those moments, and you create them and you cultivate them, just watch how you feel as a byproduct of that. You will be the source of love that you crave. You will do it, and it will come from your acts of giving and contributing way beyond your current means. And as always, you know where to find me. If I can help you and be there for you in a deeper and more meaningful way, I would love to do that. I'm always here. I'm always willing and able to enter into conversations with people who want to be truthful and real about these things. And if you want to know anything further about how I might be able to help you in a more deep and meaningful way than this, then let me know. Because as I say, at this stage, having helped thousands of people from around the world, you see some patterns. You see some emotional patterns that get people stuck, and you see some emotional patterns that can help set people free. I'm all for the latter. If you want it, let's do it. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I look forward to seeing and serving you again very, very soon. It is time to elevate your mind. Take care.